All right, fantastic. Hey, you guys, this is Dr. Colby Reed, the Chair of Fashion Studies, and I'm pleased to welcome you to our town hall today. I think this is our second or third one of the semester, and I just wanted to let those of you who are joining us for a town hall for the first time know what they are. Our town halls originated several years ago at the urging of student governments who asked all of the departments to have an hour-long midday town hall to touch base with their students. And so we had ours in fashion studies and liked it so very much, we decided to have it not once a year, but once a month. And it is our opportunity to get together with you midday on a regular basis and introduce you to exciting things that are happening in our department, reconnect with alumni, talk and hash out any issues or concerns that come up in the student body, lots of different ways that we use these events. But today, I'm really pleased to get to introduce to you someone who many, if not most of you know already, and that's our own Professor Dana Connell. If you haven't had her for a class yet, you will. And it is my hope that she will today persuade many of you to select as one of those classes one of the courses that she teaches that are oriented around scholarship competitions. And I just want to tee off her comments to you today by letting you know that these scholarship classes are some of our signature programs in fashion studies. And what I mean by that is that when I talk to students and when I talk to professors at other institutions and leaders and academic leaders at other institutions, and they ask me what's particular, what's unique about your program at Columbia College Chicago, we have a couple things that we can list. And these scholarship classes are some of the first kind of go-to examples that I use to talk about what our students who come to Columbia to study fashion studies get that students at other institutions don't get, and that is truly advantageous to them in their education and in teeing up their future careers. So you're here to hear about something that we consider some of the jewels in the crown of our program. I think that you will immediately see where the opportunities lie, and I want to encourage you to kind of use your most active thinking and engagement as Dana is walking you through the opportunity today to try to figure out, where do I fit here? Where do I belong? What's the version of this that is appropriate to me? I think you're also going to meet some of our successful students in the classes and some of our winners of the scholarship. So it should be a really interesting and informative hour that we spend together. So thanks so much for being here today, both to all of you guys who are participating in our town hall, to our students, and of course to Professor Connell. And I'll go ahead and turn things over to you now, Dana.
Okay, thank you. Hi, everybody. How's everyone doing today? Are we all good? Yeah, all right, good. I got some thumbs up. That's great. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. And what I want to do is just sort of set the stage that these are all national competitions. And participating in a national competition, which our students are going to share with you and tell you, is, you know, a whole nother level. And whether you win these scholarships or not, you are exposed to people in the industry that you might not otherwise have been exposed to. So that's one really important thing. And the other important thing is that it's a great piece to put on your resume. And if you have the case from it, if most of these are case oriented, you can put the case into your portfolio. So no matter, you know, where you land on these, it's an amazing opportunity for all of you. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. You can kind of see what the options are here on the bottom, and I'll run back to this again towards the end. Okay. So here we go. So the first one that I want to just mention is the Gucci Changemaker Scholarship. This is new. We have not done this before. And there are two parts to it. There is the Gucci Changemakers Scholars, and then there's the Changemakers collaboration with CFDA Scholars by Design. So for those of you who are specifically in fashion design, product development, that one is specifically, that's the one on the bottom, is for one woman of color or a person who identifies as a woman entering her senior year of design school. So if you are a current junior and you would be a senior next year in design, this one would be appropriate for you. Everybody else, it's the top one. And what you'll notice here is that special consideration is being given to students who live in or study in one of the 12 Gucci Changemakers cities, and Chicago is one of them. They also really emphasize that this is not just for students in design or merchandising, but they're really looking for students from a broad range of disciplines. This is a super easy one to apply for, okay? They ask for a headshot, which we can help you with that if you need to get a headshot. The application is, you know, your name, your address, you know, all of the pertinent information. A short bio, and I believe the bio is 300 words. It's a pretty short bio about yourself. And then an essay. And the essay is 300 words. 300 words is nothing, you guys. And you can see here the questions, the prompts for the essay question. You pick one of these to write about in your essay. How have you changed your actions or behaviors in order to personally promote the sustainability of our planet? What does progress mean to you? How will you use your talents and creativity to improve humanity? And how can creativity bring diverse communities together for social good? And how can fashion be used to inspire social change? That last one is like a double question. I'm not really sure why that is. But you pick one of these. So you can see where it doesn't have to be something, you know, really specifically oriented to fashion. This one is due on January 29th. Now, what you also notice here is that the award, that you have to show financial need. So we will verify that with Student Financial Services for you. So if you're interested in that, give me a shout, okay? My email is here, and we'll be sort of sending all this out to you as well, okay? So that is the Gucci Changemakers Scholarship. The next one that I want to talk about is the Fashion Scholarship Fund, the FSF, which I'm sure many of you have heard of. And that one we run actually as a class. We run it in the spring semester, the last 5 weeks of the semester. It's 3 credits. And for this particular class, you may be able to sub it for one of your required courses. You do have to have a 3.2 GPA though, so keep that in mind if you're interested in this. If you are interested in this, you need to let me know. We should probably talk a little bit about it because I have to clear you to register for this particular class. This class is, it runs the last 5 weeks of the semester, but you don't submit this until October. So you still have plenty of time to wrap up and finish. So the other thing about this particular one is that this year, Virgil Abloh put in $1 million, I believe it was, to support Black students specifically. So in this particular scholarship this year, actually, for students who have applied to this, if they score the number that they need to score in order to win this particular one, if they are a Black student, their tuition, their scholarship award will come from the Virgil Abloh Postmodern Scholarship. And then all the others will come from the regular Fashion Scholarship Fund, okay? So what I want to do is actually just, I'm going to invite, we've got a few students on the call here today, and the ones who are here, I'm going to ask you guys to talk about your case. I think I've given you each 6 slides to just briefly talk about, and to just share, you know, what did you learn from this? And would you do it again, really? It's a lot of work, not gonna lie, but I think you come out of it really at a very different level after doing this than just a regular one of your courses. So, so here we go. Ariane, are you on?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, so I'm going to just scroll through here. So this is your opening page, and you can just tell me when to click to the next slide. So Ariane Wheeler.
Hi, everybody. My name is Ariane Wheeler. I'm a senior majoring fashion merchandising. So my FSF case was based around the cosmetic and beauty industry. And I called it Everyone is Beautiful. So I said for my opening sentence, there is an absence in the beauty industry. You're not beautiful in spite of your features, but you're beautiful because of them, and you should never overlook yourself because your regular is beautiful. And you can go ahead. So this is the brand analysis of the brand that I chose. So I chose to focus on Revlon, who you all know is a huge cosmetic brand in the beauty industry. And I chose this brand because I felt like they could definitely use a boost and a revitalization in their company. So some of the current positioning, one major thing was this summer in August, Revlon actually made rapper Megan Thee Stallion their new brand global brand ambassador. So that was kind of like a huge first step to Revlon trying to make this difference for the Black woman in the beauty industry and in the community. A major weakness that can be in an area for improvement for Revlon was that at Revlon, among all directors or above are 5% Black. So I feel like there could definitely be a push for more diversity towards Black women when it comes to the darker and brown skin tones. So this is what I really wanted to focus on, is like pushing for spotlighting Blacker to brown skin tones more in the beauty industry. So I chose to come up with the product of creating new foundation colors for the deep into darker brown skin tones. So I chose to compare and to highlight a small business called the Lip Bar, which is based out of Detroit, Michigan, which is where I'm from. They have grown drastically and are sold in over 500 Targets. So I said that Revlon could use and to spark their color wave and to implement more deep to brown skin tone colors. So right now, Revlon has about 8 to 13 deep to brown skin tone colors compared to over 20 colors for the white woman. Also to implement new new eyeshadow colors. So right now, I chose to pick out 2 out of the 4 Revlon Stay 16 Hour eye color shadow palettes and create new colors for them. I believe that Revlon is a brand that definitely has had the stigma of living boldly and, you know, expressing your true feelings and being a woman, but also there is a lack of a lack of representation towards the Black women who are not shown today. You can go ahead. So I chose to highlight micro influencers. Micro influencers have a greater advantage when it comes to reaching the demographic that you want to reach. So really toning in the everyday woman, you know, who are the moms, who are the workers, who are working 9 to 5s, who have kids, you know, who are also young women, you know, who are Black, who are in the industry, who are influencers, but who really have that community to stand out. I chose over here to the left with the short hairstyle. Her name is Tonya. Just moving you around, Dana. She's 36, so the age demographic would be about 24 to 36. There is no age stigma, but this is just like the age that I chose. They are women who are advocates for Black women, for Black communities, who love makeup, who love to support brands that support them. I chose micro influencers because I feel like by choosing Revlon, they will need to grasp and spotlight, you know, people who will relate to them and who look just like them. You can go ahead. This is the financial projections.
This is your favorite slide, right?
Yes, my definitely favorite one. This was a struggle slide for me, but I can say that throughout this whole case in this class, I've learned so much when it comes to math for fashion. There really is a lot of math when it comes to this. So having math in this case was very important to make sure that I had every detail down to the T. I chose to push out this product in Ulta stores. Everyone knows Ulta. If you are a Ulta Rewards member, you are very serious about your points. Ulta tends to gravitate towards, everyone, and especially to the demographic of the Black woman. So I'm not even really sure what to highlight here. So the gross sales would
That's
be
okay. That's okay. You don't have to get into it because I'm sure everyone's head will just want to explode.
Yeah.
And that's so. Ariane, would you do it again?
I think I would do it again, but I think I would have more confidence in myself. I didn't know what I was getting myself into coming into this class and into this case. So I would definitely say, like, coming into this case, I underestimated myself. So I feel just like extremely proud, just like smiling right now. Like, I'm just like really happy that I saw through this case and that you were able to like really help me and then push me. I'm passionate about this because, Black women have the authority to like, to rule the world, in the beauty industry. But, right now we are fighting for tables where sometimes we're not welcomed. But, I feel like I've definitely put my spot as a student here at Columbia and as a Black student here at Columbia in the fashion department to really seek out and spotlight us who are really wanting to do this. So, yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And I just want to say two things. One is if you're a current freshman or sophomore, now is the time to try these cases. You may hit a home run the first time, but if you don't, you can do it. You can try it again the next time when you have a little bit more confidence, as she mentioned. And the other thing I'll mention, which I think is a great sort of call out, if any of you are following the NRF All Access, there's a really great on-demand piece from Black-owned women entrepreneurs, Black-owned businesses, women entrepreneurs. And it's about an hour long, and I would encourage you to watch that. So thank you, and we are going to move on to the next one. We got to, oh, I'm sorry, you had one more slide.
This is a huge one. The Everyone is Beautiful, which is the name of the collection, the success story. So I really wanted to focus on, what's going on like now in the world, the pandemic, the Black Lives Matter movement, and some of the things that are going on to kind of like scale how this will gravitate and like near towards and spotlight this collection. Also scaling when we think about, like gender neutrality, bringing in more of the male influencers, and also really bringing in more of the people of color in general. So focusing on, of course, Black women, but then, how can we scale this collection and how can Revlon scale and really generalize everyone of people of color? That will definitely be the major thing to see as Revlon continues to grow as a company. So that is the success story, is generalizing to people of in general, not just Black women, and also bringing in those male influencers who people also love to follow and who they support. So yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Okay, Carly, I think Carly, you are on, and I'm going to ask you to kind of quickly run through your slides and talk just quickly about what you learned and if you would do it again.
Okay, so hi guys, I'm Carly. I want to start by saying I initially chose the design case and got like more than halfway through, and then in like August, Dana and Virginia and I decided that I should switch because my marketing ideas were strong. So yeah, I did a total 360, which caused a lot of stress, so I definitely would not recommend that. But yeah, and I'm really just super interested in sustainability. That's like ethical fashion, that's like all I want to do. So you can continue. You can hit the next. Okay, so brand analysis, I chose Marine Layer just because it's directed towards Gen Z, or at least the specific case study was. And by going to Marine Layer, I'm really interested in their circular economy model, which is basically nothing goes to waste. They just break down all the old t-shirts and spin them into new fibers and create new stuff. So sorry, my dog's going crazy. So I wanted to incorporate that. Respun is their big thing that I really wanted to incorporate. And they have they have 3 stores with Airbnbs on top. So that's really cool. Gen Z is all about that. So overall, I thought it was a really Gen Z focused company. So I wanted to capitalize on that. Okay, so this would be the products. My biggest thing was to create a swappable jacket with a zipper in the back. That was even my core concept when I was doing the design as well. I don't know why. I just had an idea and wanted to run with it. So essentially, I created products that Marine Layer would sell that you could detach from each other. So it'd be one half, and you could mix and match with your friends, mix colors. I hoped to kind of get that across within the inspo and initial sketches. But yeah, it's definitely a way to increase life expectancy by sharing and borrowing and making it have way more life before it reaches the trash ultimately. Omnichannel. So I chose to go through Snapchat to market everything. I'm sure we all know what Snapchat is. Gen Z is super Snapchat obsessed. And so I ran with that because, like I said, that was the case study. Basically, this little thing in the corner, Oscar Medina wants to swap jackets. I would just, it would come up on your phone like a regular Snapchat notification would, if they're in your area specifically. And then with the Bitmoji, they've had a few successes with Ralph Lauren and Gucci doing releasing some of their items to be able to go onto your Bitmoji that is like deeply integrated in the Snapchat system. Marketing campaign. I want to educate people always. Changing Tides Foundation is just a group of women surfers. So Marine Layer is definitely Cali based and very beachy. Although I want to expand that into colder weather jackets, which is kind of also the whole thing behind this. And then they also have a truck, the Marine Layer truck, that they already exist, and they normally do the respun with the reuse of the clothes. So I want to have that go to all the suburbs instead of just the cities. And then profit and loss statement. This one gave me the biggest headache only because I had started design and then had to do math as well. But Dana was a huge help and was so awesome. So yeah, I don't know what to say about this one. The initial rollout, I'm going to do some darker colors because September, October, November. And then in the spring, some lighter colors will roll out, but all to the same location, just the stores with the Airbnb and the truck. And the truck will take it around America.
And I'm so sorry. I thought I included the slide of the truck, but I didn't.
Oh my gosh, it's okay.
But it's cool.
Hopefully they got it.
Okay, thank you, Carly. Amaya, you know what? I just want to say one last thing, and that is that Carly was incredibly open to the feedback that she got about her design concept. It was maybe a little bit hard to swallow at first. But she kind of slept on it. And then after she slept on it, she realized that she had a much stronger case going in on the merchandising side. And so I give her a ton of credit for definitely starting over and going in a different direction. And I think it came out really strong.
Yeah.
Okay, Amaya.
Hi, I'm Amaya. I'm a senior majoring in fashion merchandising. And yeah, this is my case. So a little bit of background. So the name of it is Crown Care. The whole idea came from the recent, I guess you could say, zeitgeist situation going on where there's an issue with discrimination in schools, at work with African Americans hair, both men and women. A lot of people are being fired from their jobs, they get titles stripped away from them. So the idea that I wanted to do was create a shampoo kind of around that. Well, I should say a luxury shampoo line, hair care line around that for African Americans. And then that also advocates to sign the petition to get the Crown Act, which is the bill to forbid hair discrimination in any public space, place, point blank. Okay, you can go to the next slide. Okay, so this was the product lineup. So like I said, I wanted to create a hair care line around it, but it wasn't a new hair care line. The also part about the case study was that you were kind of re-merchandising something that already exists. So Dove, they were the brand that I chose, but I chose them because they were a founder that's also funding the Crown Act, and they also have a line of hair care called Amplified Texture that is already existing in the market. But I felt like the market is kind of oversaturated with hair care lines for women. You know, everyone's always saying like natural this, cocoa, shea butter, and all this kind of thing. But I don't think there's anything that's really like luxury, you know, you could say, or that you see in like the salon or something like that. And that was also the other part of it that I wanted to highlight, that, you know, people are being discriminated against their hair, but they also spend hours and thousands of dollars to get these styles to protect their hair. And it's just a form of expression. You can go to the next slide. So the pop-up event that I wanted the whole merchandising plan to be centered around was collaborating with Ulta. So the whole event, again, is supposed to be advocating to sign the petition to get the Crown Act passed. So it would be natural hairstylists featured within an Ulta salon, kind of demonstrating the different styles, how to use the products, answering any questions. And then by signing the petition, people would be entered into a giveaway to win the line. Go to the next slide. And then as far as my omni-channel sales plan, I wanted it to be sold in Ulta, but I also wanted to be sold in a third-party retailer, which would be Black-owned beauty supply stores. So the other kind of piece of it that I wanted to highlight was that beauty supply stores are kind of like the local go-to one-stop shop for African-American hair products. However, they're owned by people outside of the Black community. And then when going into those stores to purchase products, I've even experienced it. A lot of times you experience kind of microaggressions and you face discrimination there when you're trying to purchase products. So people are trying to reclaim those local neighborhood beauty supply stores and make them Black owned as well. And then again, like everyone mentioned, this is our favorite profit and loss statement. I will say that the first time that I did the FSF case, this was rough, but by doing it again, I felt like a lot more prepared for it. And I think that just goes back to what the case is. Like Dana said in the beginning, even if you don't win, you learn so much from doing these, you know, how to, you know, build your own business, how to figure out how things are run behind the scenes, you know, not just coming up with an idea and putting it out there and expecting someone to walk you through every single step. No, you get the inside and out of what it's going to be like, what it takes, and, you know, the actual logic behind it. So that was one of my favorite parts.
So I just want to point out that Maya, this was her second time. We'll know in December if she wins or not. But the first time was a challenge, and she learned she learned a lot, and she came out like running on this one because she really felt like she had it down, and she got out way ahead of it on the second time around once she had already done it.
Thank you. I feel like by not winning the first time, it kind of puts a fire, well, for me, it puts a fire under you. You know, you want to do better and improve on what you missed the first time. And then this slide is just showing like examples of people that have faced hair discrimination. So a news reporter, a child trying to go to first grade, an athlete, he had to stop his wrestling match to cut his dreadlocks, which that was completely heart-wrenching for me. But I just wanted to kind of put in a personal piece of it and actually show faces of people who have lived this story, and then just tie it all together.
Yeah, and so this is in her appendix. So there's the actual, you know, meat of the case, and then you're allowed so many pages for appendices to support the things that you said earlier in the case. Okay, thank you very much, Amaya. Would you do it again?
Oh, absolutely.
She keeps coming back for more. Okay, Reese, I know you're on, so you are up next.
Hello. So I decided to do a fake tan brand, mainly because I wanted to kind of mix it with the importance of taking care of your skin, specifically with the sun, since it is a tanning brand, it kind of makes sense. And I also wanted to kind of include a bit of diversity since the brand doesn't have much of that included in their, just I guess in the brand in general. Because I was speaking to one of my friends before the case, and we were both kind of like, she was doing it as well at Cincinnati. And we were just talking about ideas, and I just mentioned fake tan, and she was like, oh, well, I actually I use that. And she is from like Filipino descent. So she actually has darker skin. And she was saying how she struggles to find a tan that she can actually use. And she uses it because it kind of clears up blemishes. It just kind of like makes the appearance of them kind of just disappear. Just it makes you glower, a little bit glowier. So it's just an interesting thing that I found that women of color do actually use fake tan, but not necessarily like to tan. So yeah, so this slide was basically just talking about I haven't like looked over this in so long. But basically, I decided to carry the brand in Target, kind of a collaboration with them, because it is a good price point. Target has a mission of keeping their beauty products, I think, under like $30. So I made sure that the items were under that and consistent with that message and that goal. But yeah, so I guess the next one. It's fine. And then, yep, the price breakdown and then the product assortment. So the product assortment, I added another bottle to the already 3 standing bottles. And then it's kind of, the product is infused with SPF. And I made it so it went from medium, light, and dark to a darker color after that. But yeah, so there I kind of broke down the price and everything, which that took some time. But yeah. And then this was the merchandising. So this was like a mock-up of one of the ads, and then a mock-up of the store, like I guess location of where everything would be placed, merchandising obviously. But yeah, so I kind of went through the remodeling of Target stores. Everything is getting a little bit more modern and sleek. So I included that and that future project that Target is currently developing and working on into my own presentation.
So I think all of our students really spent some time learning some Photoshop and or some Illustrator to do these mock-ups, and I think that they did a really great job.
And then the marketing tactics, this was mostly about social media and then advertising. And then I did a little bit on events because I felt like there needed to be something more. But I tried to figure out how to make the products, capture Gen Z's attention, since that was the premise of the case. So yeah, I mainly focused on social media, and that was how I was going to market this.
I have to say that everyone who did it this year, because they started working on the case, well, the case was released in February, and then they all started working on it in like late March. And then of course we know what happened in March. And it was, I think, a real challenge for everyone to have an idea and then have to kind of shift a little bit to think about, okay, well, how does this product fit in the COVID world, right? In the pandemic, in the lockdown, in all these different things. And it kind of messed with your brains a little bit, I think, and mine too, because some of the ideas that you maybe came up with initially, all of a sudden they didn't make sense anymore. And it's hard to think beyond that and to think about what sort of the new way of doing things is going to look like. So this was a real challenge for everyone.
Kind of like for the events here, I remember you had a call out of, well, what about COVID? Like you have to think about how they can throw an event in COVID times. And then like with product releases and the financials, and the restocking of the products, we also had to take an account for COVID because of that. because how many people are shopping online and how many people are shopping in stores, and how many people are buying, you know, I guess frivolous products, period, at this time. So.
Right. Awesome. Thank you so much. And here's your, some of your, I didn't do your total financial. On yours, I did the operating expenses.
Yeah, the financials were hard. I think the financials are the hardest part of the project. But Dana, you helped me a lot with it. And I feel like if any of you do choose to do the case, as long as you just like pay attention, work closely, and do what Dana says, you'll be fine. You just have to put in a little bit of work and don't be afraid to ask for help. So.
And this is typical of, you know, this slide of, you know, if you're going to have an event, what's the event going to cost? Because, you know, those things have to go into it as well. And I think as one of the others mentioned, I don't remember who it was, you do have to think about everything that happens to make this happen. You don't just have an idea and, you know, throw it in a 10-slide PowerPoint and get an A. That's not how this works. Okay, thank you, Reese, so much. I don't think Grayson is on. Let me just look here. Pretty sure Grayson is not on. So I'm going to go ahead and just speak briefly on Grayson's behalf. So Grayson actually won this competition last year. He won $5,000, and his case, ironically, last year, I don't know what kind of insight he had, was on masks. He came up with custom designed masks for Nike, and he won. And so this year, his idea, because of when we started this, was really all about gloves, about nitrile gloves. And so what he came up with, and I think it's actually brilliant beyond COVID, is coming up with gloves that are printed and patterned, and doing this with Centric Brands, which has a lot of different licenses that they run. And so you can see here, he's got the Marvel edition, the Emoji edition, Disney, and so on. So you can imagine being, you know, especially, you know, when I think about kids, right? You can imagine kids in a hospital, or, you know, even in the early days of COVID, and needing gloves, and, you know, making it kind of fun, right? So that it's not just the ugly old blue glove. His idea was to do this through CVS and to put them into vending machines at CVS. And then here's what it would look like at a regular display in a regular CVS store, but not as a vending machine, but just how it would look on an end cap. And then here's a little bit of his marketing campaign, having those little shelf, I can't remember what they're called right now, but these little guys that hang out on the shelf, his Instagram, and doing a TV ad example. See, I'm running through his really fast because he's not here to talk. So, but you can see where he had to come up with units for e-commerce, ATM, and in-store. And he thought about 3 seasons worth, how this product would move on. And that, again, beyond CVS, that the product has a life perhaps out in the medical field as well, which is a pretty interesting idea. Okay, so that was it on Grayson. So those were the FSF examples. Those are the folks who submitted this year for the FSF. We will find out who wins $5,000 in early December. So we're all waiting anxiously. But before we get to December, I'm going to ask Amaya to talk briefly again about the Next Generation, or as it's also referred to, the Next Gen competition. Amaya decided to do this kind of late in the game, and she has gone on to, there are three rounds of this, basically. The first round is basically an essay. The second round is a case. And then there are a couple of interviews along the way. So Amaya, I'm going to turn this over to you. I've got a few slides of your case, but Amaya is a finalist. So Amaya has already won $1,000 as a semifinalist, and she is guaranteed to win $10,000 as a finalist, and she might even win $25,000. You have to have a 3.0 GPA for this. You have to be a junior or a senior in January of the application year. So any of you who would be a junior or senior this coming spring, the spring is when you apply, you would be eligible for this. So here you go, Amaya.
All right. Okay, so a little bit of background about the next generation case. Like she said, I did start a little bit late, so I was just, seeing what happens, going for it. The first round was making an essay about retail innovations that you've noticed, and then taking those retail innovations and then applying them to a store or retail brand that you think is doing poorly with innovating, and then explaining why. So that was the first part. And then the second part was more of the case study, and it was a collaboration with PetSmart. So I came up with the idea of doing a calming oasis for pets and their parents. The case study was released, I think it was like early June. So it was still like around the earlier part of COVID. So that's what came to my mind first. So that's how I came up with this idea. You can go to the next slide. So then the same thing is kind of like the FSF a little bit. It was re-merchandising products, but with this, you weren't creating anything new. It was re-merchandising what they already had. So I came up with the theme of like calming, like I said, as like an oasis type of thing. And then these products are not just, you can't just pick anywhere in the store to have them merchandised. They're in what's called a drive aisle, which is their middle aisle within the store. So I picked products from their website that were focused on calming, CBD. That was my main focus. And then I also, at the top, you can see some new products that I included. I wanted to provide something per Dana's suggestion that was a little bit more interesting in the market than something that they already had. So that's why we included those products at the top. And then the bottom section there are products from Chewy.com. And I kind of had the recommendation later in the case, since PetSmart owns Chewy, that they should do a little bit more marketing for that partnership. And then this looks really busy. This slide was my in-store mock-up, like design and layout. So the first picture all the way to the left, that's like when you enter down the aisle first. So PetSmart, the way they're laid out, which I didn't know before doing this case, there's only like one aisle, and then everything else is centered off from the aisle. So I wanted the calming oasis to be the center thing that you see as soon as you walk into any PetSmart. So that's what's on this first slide. And then to the right, this is called like the Spot Sanctuary, which was Dana's suggestion. It's just kind of like an interactive spot where parents can make a calming kit for their pets of different products. Like I said, CBD, toys, calming collars, and things like that. And then this is like going to be all the way at the end of the aisle. This is kind of like the final like interactive type step. I call this one the interactive oasis. So here, pets and their parents, they can try out all the different toys, the new products that will be exclusive to PetSmart, and then also take a picture, and then just kind of capturing, the final, like I guess you can say, bonding moment between staying at home and then going back to work. That was my kind of overall like theme, having a calming last minute connection there. This again is the financial projections. I know I don't want everyone to feel like that finances is going to be like a bad part of doing these cases. To me, I think once you learn how to do it the first time, that's the biggest hurdle. And then from then on, you got it. You're fine. As long as you're taking good notes, you're like everyone else said, asking the right question. Once you know how to do it, you can do it a million times after that. So.
And unlike other cases, in this particular one, they did give they gave this sort of financial packet. So you had some numbers to go on, which was really helpful.
Very helpful. And then this slide, this was just some final recommendations. So at the top, I included metrics of success. So as Dana mentioned, you do have parameters as far as financials of what they wanted you to surpass. So that's what were my main metrics of success. But then I also included my metrics of success. I tied it to my marketing strategies, which were Spotify podcast. The new thing also was spot kiosk. So they were like kind of little stands that were interactive, like touch screens that would provide people insight on what were the latest products in the store, what were their inventory, if they were out of stock. And that was a connection from my first round essay that I kind of tied back all together. And then, yeah.
Okay. Okay. So Amaya is waiting patiently. She had a couple of interviews in the last few weeks, and she will find out in January what her status is there. So thank you, Amaya. So I next want to move on to the Student Challenge Competition. This is with the NRF, and this class is offered in the fall. Now the FSF class is the last 5 weeks of the spring semester. This class is the first 5 weeks of the fall semester. You can also potentially sub it for a required course. Columbia students have done very well in this particular competition. Here you can see, this is on the NRF's homepage actually. We had two groups that won this particular year. They won first and second place. This is a team project, teams of 2 to 4 students. And we just submitted a couple weeks ago. We are supposed to hear today if either of these teams make it to the semifinals. So I kind of keep checking my phone while we're talking. We were supposed to yesterday, but today we're going to go the other direction and tell us on Monday. So I know we've got a few folks on here for Healthy at Home. Amaya did this one as well. And I know we have Ben and Brittany also on. So you guys, I've just got a couple of slides here. So if I don't care which one of you does it, maybe Amaya, you've been talking. So Brittany or Ben, do you want to give just a really quick overview of what this was?
I can. Hello, everybody. My name is Brittany. I am a junior, but I am not in the fashion studies department, at least not major-wise. I am a graphic design student with a minor in fashion studies. So I was basically introduced to this course by Dana when I was like kind of like a last-minute entry because people were dropping out, and I was like, you know what, I might as well. And I would really love something to put on my resume. So when Dana reached out, it was like the perfect opportunity. So the student challenge is basically, they give you a different case each year. And this year, this case was like, our group was a small, like, I don't know, like, yeah, startup company. And we had like a line of products. And the goal was to create like a pitch with like a video and a plan book of us pitching ourselves to a major retailer. And I think it was Home Depot, Target, and HSN and QVC, basically the Curate group.
And Nordstrom.
And Nordstrom, yeah. I forgot about Nordstrom because nobody picked Nordstrom.
Right.
Yeah, but yeah, Nordstrom was included.
Whoops, I went the wrong way.
So Kirsten's not here. She was in charge of like the survey, but like basically like it's everything. Like this case involves so much research and work and just overall like reaching out. The survey, like we made a survey about like well, maybe I should talk about our company. Our company was Healthy at Home, and and our products were like a line of workout equipment and gear, and we made like a coffee table treadmill. It's crazy.
You'll have that in a second.
Yeah. So basically, with these survey responses, we were targeting. We chose HSN as our major retailer, and we were targeting mainly like the working moms, but also younger people because HSN is trying to market to younger people. So we know that working out is something that everybody is trying to get better at, especially since we've been in quarantine. So we developed workout gear, and it's visually pleasing workout gear. It's not like the boring drab workout gear that you see in like regular like stores or like TJ Maxx. Like it's actually like interesting. And it also saves a ton of space, something that you can have like in your living room without it you know, just interrupting your daily life. Yeah.
So I want to point out here, you can't see it as easily, but that treadmill on the right-hand side actually is a coffee table that
Yeah.
opens up into a treadmill.
Yeah.
This was a real challenge, especially for this group choosing HSN, which I give them tons of credit for. We kind of got to move on, but Ben or Amaya, do you have anything else you want to add real quick?
I would just say that this project, like the other ones, require a lot of pivoting. Like at first we were not doing HSN, and yeah, you just gotta really like put your trust into Dana, and there was another professor helping teach the class, and they'll really help you make sure what you're doing is following a certain path that's gonna get you where you need to go.
Yeah, I guess I would just emphasize, so Peg Murphy from Communication, she and I teach this together. We've been doing this for several years. We've won several years. So we kind of know how to get there. And thank you for saying that, Ben. I mean, trusting is really important. But you also got to hold your ground when you really believe in something, and we respect that. So yeah, anything else you want to add, Amaya? And then I'm going to move on.
Yeah, really quickly, I would just jump off that. I think with pivoting, it comes feedback. You get feedback from the instructors, a lot of it every week, and you can't take it personal. It's literally just to make you better. And you know, with that feedback, each week you see it grow. So knowing when to separate the two is very important.
Great call out. Amaya was very busy this past year. So every skate is the other team. So what I'll add about this particular class is that we usually start with 5 or 6 teams, and you are competing to be one of 2 teams that we actually submit to the national competition. And I will tell you that it was a really, really, really hard choice this year. I wish that you all had any idea, if you were flies on the walls, what we went through to choose the 2. The other one that has gone forward, and I don't think I have anyone on from this group, was called Every Skate, and their partnership was with Target. And their idea was to create skates for everybody, because there's a big trend right now in roller skating, as I'm sure all of you know. But it tends to be very technical, you know, sort of skate shop, intimidating. And their idea was to put something into Target that would be really fun. And they created this great little like roller rink idea in store as part of their sort of store in store idea. It was the skates, it was stickers, it was knee pads and elbow pads, and they just created a really fun concept. One of the students on their team was a film and video major, so she made their video. There's a 90-second video that has to go along with this, and I wanted to actually try to show the videos in this little section today, but maybe what we'll do is send those out to everybody. The other 2 quickly that I want to mention, one is called PAVE. So that kind of wraps up those competitions. PAVE, we've participated in PAVE on and off. It just kind of depends on the competition. And so the one this year involved SketchUp. It was a little bit more complex, so we did not participate in it this year, but we did it the year before. This is better as a team project, and we just keep our eyes on it, and if it's the right thing for us and our student capabilities, then we will participate again. The other one, if any of you or anyone you know is working for American Eagle Outfitters, they're doing a scholarship case competition, and as I understand it, it's only for people who work there, but it's to pay for scholarship money. So we'll be investigating that a little bit further. So with that, that's kind of the wrap up here. Thanks you guys for keeping us on time. It's 1:56. Wow, that was a lot to cover. So what I was hoping to do is to quickly take any questions if you guys have questions. But before I do that, I just want to launch a really quick poll and kind of take the pulse of what all of you are thinking. So I'm launching the poll. Check any of these that apply to you. I'm just kind of watching the results here. So it looks like I've got a few folks that are interested in the scholarship, which is really great. So I'm going to end the polling on that. I've got 6 of you interested in Gucci Changemakers, 8 in the FSF this spring, 4 for the next generation, and 4 for the student challenge. So that's really awesome. I'll just share these with you real quick so you can see where you're at. So if you are interested in these, please let me know. So what I want to do now is just kind of open it up for whatever questions you guys have. I see there's some stuff in the chat. That was from before. Awesome. Questions?
Yeah, I think this is great. I transferred my first year from a different school and kind of got immersed with all of the stuff from Columbia, and I've kind of put my toe in everything, trying to do stuff. I've done the fashion lab twice now, and I kind of could not stop grinning at the idea of everything you guys were talking about, especially the opportunities with more merchandising on the side. I was just wondering if you guys wanted to talk about more like, how was your time management skills with dealing with everything that you had? Because those mock-ups look like they took forever, learning how to do like Illustrator and Photoshop. That's like my main concern, is like time management.
So I'm going to just interject really quickly, Renee, to say that for the FSF in the spring, you're working on it at the end of the semester, but it doesn't submit until October.
Right. Okay.
And I would say probably the biggest crunch is on the student challenge competition, which is a team competition. So the good news is that like that Photoshop part, that might not be your job. That was Brittany's job because she's a graphic design major. We set the teams up very purposefully and intentionally so that somebody's going to work on the numbers, somebody's going to work on the design, somebody's going to work on the video. We try to really make sure that we have the right skill sets across that. So with that, I'll let the rest of you answer if you'd like.
I would say that was the hardest part for me, was the time management, because I was doing 2 internships and then dealing with other stuff at home, and on top of all of the COVID and everything like that. So I would say that was definitely difficult, and I would only do the case again if I knew I had dedicated time blanked out for it, which I thought it's just, there's a lot of complication that Dana and I ended up working through, but things just didn't go as planned. So I would just say, as long as you know you have time to really sit down and do things, then yes, it's a good idea to do the case. But if you don't think you can really dedicate time, I'm not sure how much you'll get out of it if you can't put your all into it. Because I will say I got a lot out of it, but I would have gotten more out of it had I been able to dedicate a lot of time to it. So it's really, I think what you get out is what you put in.
Yeah.
I just kind of wanted to add to that. I know I didn't have any presentations in this video, but I have actually taken both classes. And this spring, I kind of crashed and burned in the FSF class just a little bit. And I ended up not submitting because I knew that I wasn't going to like it. And so I just decided to not submit it. But I finished out the class just because I was like, I would rather not put something forward, kind of like Reese was saying, that I'm not proud of. And sadly, COVID just kind of got the better of me during the spring, and still kind of is. But, you know, you kind of work through it. And honestly, I also just want to say, I think the math is fun. So don't get discouraged by it, because that's my favorite part.
I agree with that. I think that it's hard, but it's fun. It's kind of like a game, honestly.
It takes like a lot of time to figure out, but it's extremely satisfying once you have your big old spreadsheet complete and you're just like, yes, I did that.
Yeah, I'm scared. I'm going to be really honest. I am the worst at math. I am very dyslexic, and in my entire like schooling career, they've always tried to put me in extra math classes to like, I think I didn't take US history in middle school. I took math instead. And so I'm a little bit scared. I won't lie. And I've taken the math classes I need to at Columbia already. So Dana, I'll probably need you a little bit more than I would for anything else. That's like the thing.
You know what? You can add, subtract, multiply, and divide.
All on a calculator.
You're good. You're good. We'll get you there. You'll be so proud of yourself when you see what you can accomplish.
Also, I know I'm graduating in the spring, but I have done it several times now with the kind of math portions of it, and I kind of have it down to a science. So I'm always available if anyone needs help as well.
That's great.
Bella.
Yeah.
Thanks, Bella.
I was gonna say, Renee, like coming to this case, I applied also to the student challenge, but I didn't make it to the next round. But I was kind of glad that I did it because the FSF case, after the 5-week course in the springtime, and I figured out that I wanted to submit it, you know, it gave me time to really focus on it. But during the summertime, I had like a lot going on. So, you know, time management was a huge deal. And I'll say that, you know, if you're really passionate about the case for whichever that you're doing, you should, you know, really block out the time. You know, there were times where I thought I wasn't going to complete it, where I thought I wasn't going to submit. I lost my case completely like a couple of weeks, like a month before the submit date. So I had like a whole meltdown, and I was like, Dana, I don't think, you know, I'm trying, but I don't think it's going to get there. But, you know, I really wanted to do this because I was passionate about what I was working on. And, you know, math isn't a huge suit or positive in my area as well. But I think that I wanted to learn it. And, you know, Dana, she's not going to she's not going to baby you. You know, she's going to help you, but she's also, she's going to guide you and, you know, tell you what you need to do. But you, like Amaya said, you know, take great notes, you know, record the calls. Every conversation that I have with Dana, I recorded every single call on video. That way I can hear what she's saying, like word for word. That way I can come back and listen to it. You know, like it's not going to be easy, but if you're passionate about it, you'll make time for it. There were like a lot of sleepless nights. You know, one night I stayed up till like 5 a.m, but I got it done, and it came out good. And I was proud of the work that I did because, you know, my confidence grew in the math area, and I'm still working, you know, like, you know, daily to, you know, become comfortable in that area in merchandising. So I'll say, you know, just be confident in yourself and know that, you know, if you want to do it, you can do it, and Dana will help you, and you have peers who will help you as well. So yeah.
So we're gonna have to wrap it up because we're over our time. But I just want to say really quickly, Renee, all of these guys with regard to time management, you know, they set up appointments with me and they kept their appointments. And they said, okay, I'm going to get this done, you know, this week, and they kept their time and they delivered what they said they were going to deliver. And I think that accountability is half of it. And you know, they were doing it over the summer, you know, beyond when the class had finished. So yes, it does require some time management. But if you map out a plan and you know where you need to get and you work it backwards, you can get there. So,
awesome.
So thanks everyone for coming on today. Nice to see you all. And if you have any questions, you know, you can shoot me an email, and we will send this recording out as well through the thread, so that other folks can watch it who were not able to come on today. So yeah, Raj.
I just want to say I love all the presentations. I know you all guys have done a lot of hard work, like improving every week with Dina, and congratulations to you also. Like you put a lot of efforts behind them. Like I know it.
Because Raj knows, because he did it 2 years ago. So
Yeah.
he knows.
And I love all the presentation. So good feedback from my side.
Thank you, Raj. All right. Thanks, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day. And we'll see you all soon. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks.